Okay, thank you everyone for your attention. So thanks for the introduction, Don. So we've been working on a project which is titled Nanotechnology for Phosphorus Recovery from Effluent. So participants and partners, so we have a project advisory committee, which is Professor Jörg Keller here today, and also Professor Tony Priestley. Contracted project partners are Intertech, Pivot and Actu. We've also had some additional contributions by Melbourne Water and Water Corporation. That's been through the supply of samples and general interest in the project. Most recently we've brought on board 3 wastewater engineers from around the country that's been, I guess, identified as having a particular interest for their local situations. So the project objectives, at a high level, was to develop a microbead nanotechnology that would enable the capture of soluble phosphorus and then the subsequent recycling of that phosphorus once captured from the wastewater. So we're developing actual materials and then trying to transform them to increase their ability to uptake phosphorus. And then trying to get them into a form where they can actually be implemented into wastewater treatment. So here you see us making materials, modifying the nano-sized structures of the materials, and then getting them into a form where they can actually be implemented and separated from the wastewater. So we're working towards getting to pilot scale evaluation, and then, if feasible, if we get that far, to get them into wastewater treatment facilities. And I guess the other objective is to develop capability in the development of high surface area adsorbents within Australia. So in terms of the structure and the research approach, firstly, I guess we've sought some advice from both the wastewater industry and also the fertiliser industry. And then the approach really is to source appropriate materials. Upon that guidance, as I said, modify these materials, increase their surface area, control the charge and the uptake abilities of these materials, and obviously test their uptake and their phosphorus release. So at present we've got 3 candidate materials which we're refining down to the best material that we think will have I guess a purpose to upscale. We've demonstrated we can take up to 3.5% weight of phosphorus into the materials, and we've demonstrated the full release of that phosphorus from the materials. In terms of the outcomes, so we're developing a new technology and a certain form of that adsorbent that can be implemented for widespread use across wastewater treatment or water treatment in general. The more targeted outcomes are really polishing of phosphorus levels in secondary treated effluent, and also probably the treatment of water before it gets to a membrane process where phosphorus can be responsible for fouling issues. We're obviously looking at recovering the phosphorus into a bioavailable form, and if we develop, I guess, a successful material, we develop a new manufacturing opportunity here within Australia. So we're looking at, I guess, producing materials that would be considered by the fertiliser industry for implementation or supplementing their existing mainstream manufacturing processes. I guess one of the other outcomes is getting a handle on the cost estimates of the technology. The adoption and pathways and application will be discussed, I think, later on today. Really, I guess the first 3 points are getting some sound advice on how you put things together in terms of building the technology, building that, and then trying to create a market. What is the application? And it's, I guess, strongly orientated around wastewater treatment. And then subsequent engagements are around manufacturing in the fertiliser industry. And then trying to work out who's going to take the risk to actually take it forward. So I'm happy to leave it there. Thank you.